Welcome everybody to our Nomasis Webinar. My name is Severin and I'm pleased to introduce you to Fabian from Nomasis, who will be presenting today. Today's webinar is about maximize your team's flexibility, work anywhere with Windows 365. The session lasts about 25 to 30 minutes. Please notice that the webinar will be recorded and during the presentation your microphones will be set to mute. You may pose questions during the session through the chat function. The questions will then be answered by Fabian at the end of the session. Now I'd like to hand over to Fabian.
Hi everyone, thank you Severin for introducing me and welcome to this webinar about Windows 365. Before starting, just introduce myself. Fabian Mauricio, IT engineer working for Nomasis for the Romandie in Switzerland for around 2 years now. So let's jump right into it. First of all, using the raise your hand feature on Teams, did any of you already tested or used Windows 365 in the past? Or is it something completely new for everyone? All right, so we have some people who had already tested the solution, but it seems that it's quite new for most of us today. Just the agenda, I will give you a short introduction as why Windows 365 came to life. Then I will give you more details about Windows 365. We are then going to cover some use cases, some example. We can then see the difference between the business version and the enterprise version of Windows 365. Short recap on licensing before giving you a demonstration on how it works. And we will then end with the new features. And at the end, we'll then answer your questions. So as we are leaving this pandemic world and shifting towards a new way of working, organizations nowadays, they have to adapt their digital solution and their workflow to enable their employees to work from anywhere using any type of device. Last year, Microsoft ordered a study of more than 30,000 people across the whole world and asked them a few different questions regarding how they work and how they would like to work. Out of that, 73% said they really appreciate to have flexible remote work options, and since the pandemic will not go back to how it was before. But at the same time, 67% of the employees want to work more in person. So they want really to be able to choose if they want to work from home or they want to work from their office. And at the end, on the manager side, 80% of them are expecting more than just work from home policies, really policies where it enables a flexibility for everyone. And as you can see here, we already have a small paradox where the majority of the users want to work from home, but they still want to be able to work from their offices. And of course, this brings new challenges for any IT department. Since things looks a bit different when you cannot just go to desk over, ask your IT colleague something, or help, or if you are a new hire, have an already onboarded and provisioned laptop or desktop ready for you. These are things that need to change, and there are new challenges for the IT staff. So at the same time, they also have to keep a certain business continuity and make sure things are able to scale up, scale down, specialized workflows enabled, all of that in a rapidly changing environment. And of course, you can build new stuff, new things, new workflow, but you always have to keep in mind security, regulations, and compliance according to what your company has set up. And it's of course a challenge to be able to address all of these needs without an overburden of your IT staff or letting your costs get out of control, sacrificing productivity, or compromising security. And nowadays we hear a lot that it's a time-consuming effort. How can I make sure that the way I work today is a modern approach to how I'm supposed to work? If we look at the landscape today, we have a lot of client PC, which are really the desktop or laptop you use every day, where your users, they love them, they know how to work with them, and they are really prepared to work on this type of device. But unfortunately, this type of device cannot be scaled down. Once you set up a computer for user, usually it's the one computer they will use for the remaining of their time in your company. And due to that, companies focused a bit more on virtualization, which has been around now for decades, to be able to scale up or down some specific needs for some users. Let's say, for example, some user might need a higher GPU or a faster CPU, and all of these needs are really helped with virtualization to be met. And lastly, we are seeing a lot of desktop as a service emerging, which is a new concept offering a cloud-based OS. We have seen many organizations start to adopt this approach, and we expect it to grow even further. But usually, this desktop as a service, it requires a heavy infrastructure integration. It requires a new provisioning flow in a new admin tool and a billing system that's hard to understand and is not really integrated everywhere. But of course, with Windows 365, this changes. As Microsoft is really uniquely positioned in the market to bring Windows, the experience that your user you are used to the cloud. So Windows 365, what is it? It's really a cloud service that introduces a new way to experience Windows 10 or 11 to business of all sizes. And all of that is enabled through a secure stream of all the Windows experience, so apps, data, settings, anything from the Microsoft cloud to a personal device or a corporate device or even a mobile device. And really on the user side, it's the experience is streamed across devices. So even if you are using Windows 10, then switching to an iPad, the experience will be the same. You will recover your session immediately, all of your apps, content, and settings. Since this cloud PC is sitting in the cloud, it's gonna be always ready for your user. There is no downtime. It's also always updated. So you keep the device updated. And for your end users, it's also very personal and familiar. They are not leaving Windows world. They are just using a cloud Windows version. Um, on the other side, for your IT department, Windows 365 offers many configuration options to easily scale your needs with the right processing power and storage for your users to do their job, their everyday job. Windows 365 also enables the purchasing of this cloud PC to be really easy. And you will have the management, the deployment. Everything is done to the same portal as you are already, as you should be already pretty aware of, which is the endpoint manager from Microsoft. And finally, Microsoft 365 is secure by design. No data is stored locally on the device on how you access your cloud PC. Everything is stored on the cloud. You can secure it with your hardware token, 2FA, just as you are used to with any Microsoft product. Like I said before, it integrates seamlessly with any Microsoft Cloud services, be it Entra ID, so previously Azure AD, to manage your users, attribute license, also with any Microsoft 365 apps. So Teams, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, any of these apps will be natively supported and optimized for the cloud PC. Every Windows 365 computer also comes with Microsoft Defender, where you will be able from the dashboard in the cloud to see any events or any issues that appeared on the cloud PC itself. And finally, it's also integrated into Microsoft Endpoint Manager. So now Intune, and you will just see that this is a feature that's restricted to the enterprise version only. And we will see later on what's the difference between the business and the enterprise version. So in short, Windows 365 really provides you with a personalized, powerful, simple, and secure full Windows 11 experience. And really, all of your apps, content, settings, anything that you can use on a normal desktop computer can be streamed from the Microsoft Cloud to any device. It's also a highly powerful solution which can be scaled from one virtual CPU up to 16 nowadays. So you can really make sure that the user gets uh, the powerfulness he needs. It's also that simple for your users. They just need to go on a web page, and from there, the computer will be provisioned, deployed, and in a matter of minutes, he will be able to access his work computer. And of course, you are getting all of the new Windows 11 security features, so the TPM chip and all of that security features are natively supported by the cloud PC. Now that we have seen really what my Windows 365 does, I wanted to cover more use cases on where you could use it, for example. One use case will be with your partners. For example, you don't want them to have to install a VPN on a desktop that you do not manage. You don't know what's installed on this desktop. You don't know what the user is doing with that computer. So you might not want to install a VPN solution or even give them an access to your Citrix server farms. Then this is something you could deploy for them. Really just a Windows 365 cloud PC with an on-premise connection, for example, and you will, with that solution, you will ensure that when your partner connects, he will only connect to a computer that you manage and that you know what he's doing on that computer. It can also be time sensitive approach, whereas here you don't have to wait maybe a long time to get the needed resources or the account. Here really your partner can connect in a matter of minutes. It's just deploying the right license to him. Also, if you have short-term employees, for example, for the summer or the winter, you might have people coming for 3 months to work, and this is something that is cost effective because you are not deploying big computer for them. You're just providing to them a cloud PC that they can access from their personal computer, their iPad, their phone, or any device. The same way with your partners, you can also enable this for your employees. Let's say, for example, you have some employees in a remote location You are not able to maybe deliver them the needed computer or the needed specifications where they live. You could deploy them a Windows 365 computer, and they will be able to work from there and access their resources from there. This is this can also be used in a short-term needs to scale up your capacity. If, for example, you know that for the next 3 months you are gonna hire 20 person to work on the support, where instead of giving to everyone full desktop, you can just provide them with a cloud PC, and they will be able to work and help your users. Now, I told you before that two versions existed of Windows 365, the business version and the enterprise version. Um, I think we are going to focus more on the enterprise version throughout this presentation, but just so you know that the business version also exists. To quickly summarize the business version, it's that simple. You are not able to manage the cloud PC. It's managed by Microsoft. There is no licensing prerequisite, and it's limited to 300 users. Now for Windows 365 Enterprise, you are able to deploy and manage it through Microsoft Endpoint Manager. It's important that the user must be licensed for Windows 11 Enterprise or Windows 10. He must have a Microsoft Endpoint Manager license and an Azure ADP1 license as well. One strong feature of the enterprise versus the business is that you can choose the image you want to use to provision the computer. It can either be an image that's provided by Microsoft. So, for example, you want just a simple Windows 11, which has already the Microsoft 365 apps installed, or you might have your own image where you might deploy another endpoint manager solution, or just have your work application be installed. And this solution does not have a limitation on the number of users, and it's really more towards enterprises. I just wanted to put really the feature breakdown so that you can really see what's supported by the business version and what is supported by the enterprise version. I don't think that I need to go into many more details in here, since most of the difference were explained previously. Now, for the pricing, on the business side, the pricing starts at 30 francs a month for two CPUs with 4 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigs of disk space. This can be scaled up to 4 CPUs with 16 gigs of RAM and 128 disk space. Of course, you can always have a higher amount of disk space. It's depending on the region you choose. You might not have every possibility, so you might need to restrict yourself to some configuration if you want to stay, for example, in the Switzerland data centers. If we now go to the enterprise licensing, as you can see, it's the same price. The pricing doesn't change, nor does the compute power change. The only thing here is that you can now go down as low as a 1 CPU with 2 gigabytes of RAM. I'm not sure how Windows 11 will look with that configuration, but it can be scaled up to 8 virtual CPUs for the Switzerland data center. If you are choosing another data center, you can go up to 16 virtual processors with, I think it's up to 64 gigs of RAM. And you might have heard about another solution coming from Microsoft, which is Azure Virtual Desktop. which is more a complete VDI solution. We usually recommend VDI if the customer is going to have like some applications, or he wants really to have like a maximum flexibility and control over the environment. Whereas with the Windows 365 Cloud PC, you cannot control everything. For example, the network, you are not able to manage how the device connects to the network, whereas with the Azure Virtual Desktop, you are able to control that. Also important to note that the Windows 365 computers have a cost per month and per user, so you are really able to see what you are going to pay. Whereas Azure Virtual Desktop is you are paying on the cost consumption, so the cost might be higher one month and lower another month. Now I just wanted to give you a short demonstration. Um, in this demonstration, first of all, I will just show you where the the Windows 365 computer is sitting. I'm sorry this is in French, but really it's just a normal Microsoft Endpoint Manager, and you will directly be able to see Windows 365 computers, and from there create a provisioning profile. Um, yeah, you really choose which network you are going to use, in which region you want that computer to sit, what's the image you want to use, and just your normal configuration. Before deploying, you will be also able to just send any apps to that computer. For example, here we are sending VLC to that specific computer and making sure that it's installed when the user needs it at first launch. On the user experience, really easy. You just go to my windows365.microsoft.com, where you will have to log in. It will ask you a few questions. Will your computer gets ready? And then you will be able to see your computer and from there directly access it. It will ask you if you want to enable the printer and copy paste, and then you will just be logged in. You might see this screen on the first sign in, which is just usual, and making sure that your computer gets ready, making sure that your account is ready, that the application are installed, that everything gets ready. Once the device is ready, you will then be able to access it. And we can see that VLC was installed, and you have Word, Excel. You are already connected to your OneDrive, or any specific workflow you could have is already used. I also wanted to show you a short demonstration from Microsoft. Here he's using a device from Microsoft. That's an Android smartphone using two screens. In this demonstration, you will see him. He's, for example, saying, "Oh, okay, look, I can have, for example, one note on one side of my smartphone, write anything with a Surface Pen, delete it, and then when I want to work on a real workflow, let's say, connect on my computer, I can then use the remote desktop connection to connect to my cloud PC." So that's what he's doing now, just connecting to his cloud PC. And here you can see that the cloud PC is automatically changing the resolution to match what the user is using. And from there, he will be able to use the mouse and just use his Excel file like he wants to on a normal desktop computer. He will I'm just waiting a bit. He will also, if you have a device that's compatible, you can split the screen. So that's what he's going to do now. Have the Excel sheet on one side and your notes on the other. And yeah, so here he has one note on one side and the Cloud PC on the other. And as you can see, again, the resolution was automatically match to what the device resolution is. Last but not least, I just wanted to cover a few of the newest features that Microsoft shipped into Windows 365. First one is Windows 365 Boot, which enables you to make a Windows 11 computer boot directly into the cloud, which could be something used, for example, for shared computers, so that you are sure that not every session of every user is sitting on that computer, but every user is connecting to his own cloud PC. They also added the support for Bluetooth and alternative keyboards, so that your users can really have highly personalized experience. For a few months now, we also have the native Azure AD join, so no more domain control needed, no Azure subscription or VNet configuration needed, and this also supports SSO. Now, for the Windows 11 experience, Microsoft has been shipping new marketplace images almost monthly now, with either updates, better optimization for some apps, or some additional apps. They also added some security baseline in the configuration of the Cloud PC to enable you to an easier way of managing the devices. And one really nice feature that I really enjoy is Windows 365 Switch, which enables you on an Windows 11 computer to have your Windows 11 computer, and then with just one key, you can have a second desktop and switch to your cloud PC in a matter of seconds. You can even configure copy paste or your mouse to automatically switch between machines. It's working really great and a nice feature. And also, recently, the point-in-time restore function has been added to the Cloud PC, and also GPU have been added. Although I have to note that GPU pricing is quite high and might not be available in all regions as of now, as it's still in preview. And that really concludes our webinar throughout Windows 365.
Thank you very much for giving us an overview on this very interesting topic. I did not receive any questions during your speech, but if anybody has any further questions, please unmute yourself and ask Fabian. Okay, as there's no further questions, we will end this webinar at this point. If you have any further questions afterwards, please contact Nomasis at any time. And thank you all for joining, and have a very nice rest of the day.
Thanks, everyone.